Hello and welcome back to Just Because Minecraft, everyone. And today, what this episode is going to be about is making this guardian farm. So basically, I kind of already started a little bit. So this was a temple that I found, the ocean monument that I found, like very early on when I was playing through this world. It took me forever to drain it because this monument actually did not have any sponge rooms. So instead of going to other ocean monuments to look for sponge, guess what I did? I I was stupid and I took sand and I think you can fill in that sentence by yourself. I just filled this area with sand. And when I ran out of sand, I dug out the sand and filled it up with more sand. I'm stupid. It's okay. It's fine to comment that. But regardless of that, I with the Wither skeleton farm that I created um before and stuff now, and also all the massive amounts of sand that I have collected and used and drained out the inside and outside of this monument, we can start tearing it down and making the base for the farm. So with that, that's kind of what this episode is going to be about. Mainly just because I want prismarine and I want sea lantern. I mainly want sea lanterns. Prismarine is kind of one of those blocks where I'm like, I'm not super sure how to use it. But yeah. So I'm gonna, I guess, start tearing down. I already started tearing down some of the inside. I was initially planning to do something where I wanted to keep the insides of this structure, kind of just keep, or no, not the inside, keep the outer shell of the structure. um I do have my silk touch, okay. uh but yeah, I wanted to keep the kind of outer shell of the structure and then build the farm inside, but then I was just kind of like, nah. uh and we're gonna just tear this whole thing down, and hopefully mm, I'll just cut to that. I do want to try to keep as many, so there might be a few trips back and forth, um, as I'm digging this out a lot. With haste too, I didn't realize how fast this would be to dig this out, with Prismarine, because, yeah, it's basically insta-mine. Um, but yeah, I'll see you guys after I tear this down. Okay, bye. And we're back. And you know that thing where you procrastinate on something because you're like, oh, this is gonna take forever, and then when you actually do it, it actually does not take that much time. That's kind of what happened here. This took an hour, I think, just just digging it out. I stored a lot of, and it could have taken less time if I didn't like spend so much time like taking the blocks and saving them and then transporting them over to my little house over there that you can see in the background. But yeah, yeah, that was it. It was an hour. Took an hour to flatten this thing out. So I kind of marked out this is where the original entrance is. So in this direction. So I'm not sure if I want to keep it like that. I'm not. I might want to do something with these pillars, but that's more for decoration purposes. But for now, what we need to do is go gather materials for the next part of this build, which is going to be the the actual what do you call it? The actual farm. And this one I had no energy to try to think of a farm myself, so I'm actually using a farm I think it was made by Iscal85. I'll put a link in the description for that farm. We're going to be using kind of his version with, I think the only tweaks I'm going to really have are going to be kind of maybe in the killing chamber a little bit, but other than that, it's going to stay really faithful to it. And the idea of his farm is that it's just 2 tanks of water, and what happens is that you have the guardians form in that tank, or they will spawn in those tanks and be pulled up by the soul sand bubble elevators and then shoved into basically the killing chamber. And for now, what I'm going to do is just use some temporary blocks to kind of lay out where that's going to be. So the idea is that right in the middle, somewhere here, is going to be a 4x4, is going to be a 4x4 kind of drop chute, and I'm just trying to figure out where that is because I don't remember. I actually measured this out, so I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, and I think this is where these 4 right here. Actually, wait, that might be a lie. Let me check. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It might be one more. Because I know I built this right over the top of the area thing. So, and then we can just do another check because that means we should have 7 here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah. So this should be our center point right here. So we're just gonna take more blocks, fill that in, and then remove these. So with that, we're gonna have to dig down to Y level around like 19 or something like that for the killing chamber, and right now we're at like 40. Actually, I think I only need to hit Y level 20 or something. But basically from here, we just need to dig out a little bit, and then so I don't want to fall in completely yet. And then down here, there's nothing terribly interesting. I want those blocks, unfortunately. Okay, and then yes. And then let's put a light because I don't think anything will spawn, but you never know. And then from here, we want to mark out kind of the placement of the tanks. And if I remember correctly, it has to be 8. So it's from the middle. So it's like 1, and the tanks themselves have to be 8 apart. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start having a tank here. 1, 2, 3, 4, tank right here. And then I believe he starts out with, it's 12 by 9 outer. So it's like, if this is like 2, right? Here's the 2 to measure out. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we're back here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 12, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go back. And then come around. And there we go. So this is the footprint of kind of our base that we have. And then right here, this is going to be like the entrance down to, like, we'll have stairs or something going down to actually further down. I think it has to be like at least 20 something blocks away if we go down like 1 level at a time, so on and so forth. But that's the basis of this idea. So we'll have the 2 tanks come up here, and
and they'll come up until probably around where the beacon ends. It's like Y level 61 or something like that. Um, and then so on and so forth. But I actually need to gather better materials just because I would like to use a different block palette for this. I'm thinking of using some dark wood or some dark oak and or some spruce or something like that, just because the building we live near kind of, or this area is near like a spruce forest over on that side. We look if we yeah, we get some spruce over there. Um and also because I want to kind of keep with like the darker palette. I did see some really nice lighter palette ones too. I think I just personally like the darker colors more, which is why in some of my builds that you've been seeing, I've been using a lot of deep slate because deep slate is just really easy to get my hands on as opposed to like blackstone, and deep slate also has a lot more varieties in terms of its polished and so on and so forth. Now that I'm looking at this, it looks kind of small in that area. But, um, yeah, because the whole, like, you could probably make this bigger, definitely to make this more, like, efficient and so on and so forth. And that might be either, like, a later project where I tear this whole thing down, um, and just remake it and try to use as much as this area as possible because as you see in this whole entire box, once you fill it with water, guardians can spawn in kind of anything in this box, which is a lot of spawning spaces. Your AFK platform might have to be slightly lower, assuming that you want them to like die in the way of like fall damage or something like that. Um, but that will be like probably a problem for another day because like with most farms, the issue is your efficiency versus kind of like the amount of stuff you can spawn and kill at the same time. So with that, I'm gonna go off and gather some materials, specifically like the glass and the side building blocks, as well as get some things in order to kill our mobs faster. So with that, I'll see you back here when I have the materials. And we're back. So, as you can see here, I have some trees growing. So I have some spruce as I want as my main wood because as I was building this up, I kind of like this stripped spruce right now. Again, this can always be easily changed, but I don't want to change it for a while. I have some glass here that I am planning to dye up, but I'm not really sure what color I want, so I just kept it as there. If I choose a color, I'm gonna have to, if I choose like specifically like blue, I'm gonna have to spend a day getting like blue dye or lapis because like I don't have any blue flowers, so I might just get lapis because I'm a weirdo. Yay. But anyway, so we're gonna have the tanks here, and then they're all gonna come and try to congregate and then fall into this hole, which I have slightly blocked off just a little bit, just in case I fall, but also because I was digging this out, and fun fact, right under this monument is actually a really large mine shaft. So basically, I've dug out a decent amount and I've started placing kind of where I want the storage system and how the system's going to work. So what we're going to have is we're going to have the hoppers here. So this is the main four that go up. We have the hoppers. It's going to go into like a dropper, drops into a water elevator, goes up and around and through, and then this is where the ice is supposed to be. But regardless, it's just a standard kind of item sorter with some components switched out here and there. I think you can find this standard kind of sorting mechanism at Impulse SV. It's kind of I think the most basic item sorter that you can have in this day and age, so to speak, of Minecraft. Uh, but as you can see, I am just within a mine right now, and I have not spent really much time spawn proofing this. One, because I'm scared, and I really should, because there's goodies, but also because it should increase my rates. But yeah, as you can see, I have not touched certain things. This got moved. Ooh, That's actually pretty useful. Let me grab everything. And then let's just grab this as well. Because you never know when you need carts. But, okay, I don't need to put 2 torches like that. Let's see, which way did I come from? I came from there. And then what you can see slightly is that I actually had to dig out a little bit. So if you see right over here, this actually continues over here, but this corner right there actually connects to, sorry, just put some more torches. This actually connects to the room we're just in. So that's kind of fun fact, but that's kind of how this system works. I just literally dug into a mine shaft. So good and bad, but you know, tis how it be. Uh, and then on the other side, actually, funny enough, is that right up here in this corner, if we go up, so just go up a little bit, we have a spider spawner right here. Actually, is it cave spider? It's cave spider. So yeah, we have a normal cave spider spawner right here. And then I believe the paths go off in different directions here, but I haven't had the time to really explore them. And I don't really plan on doing so unless it's like really easy, like, you know, not too much branching. Yeah, no, we're going back. One, because I don't want to get lost, but two, that's not my main purpose here. So we're just gonna kind of leave some of this, and then plus this is like half flooded as well. So, oh, that's a hole. I don't like that. I don't think I'm gonna do anything with the spider spawner. One, because it's just too close. I feel kind of bad getting rid of it though, so we're just gonna leave it. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 1. No, we just dropped out. Okay, yeah. But this is probably as big as I'm going to expand it, so on and so forth, because of the mine shaft. I also, because I'm one person, this is a single player world, as you guys have probably known. I don't really need that many resources, and worst case is if it does overflow, I'm willing to accept loss. Just because, again, this is just me playing. If I need a lot, I'll AFK, I'll make stuff. If I need to expand the storage, I might do it in a way that I get rid of all the cod, so any cod can go and burn, and I'll only keep the prismarine shards and prismarine, what's the other thing? Scales or something like that. Crystals, yes, something. And then so on and so forth. But we have our redstone box, and I'm going to create the item sorter as well as the kind of water stream, which I will actually show you in my creative world just because it's easier to explain there since I have most of it built. I also have this box of prismarine bricks that I got from destroying the temple, and that will be used kind of in to show I guess the area. So I'm gonna get this bottom set up first before we start working on the top, and then so I'll show you the storage system in my creative world. So, welcome to my creative world where I just kind of build things. I have two versions of this, I have a few versions of this in general, in different versions in case I just want to play around with block palettes or so on and so forth. So as you can see, I have a lot of random stuff in the background. But what we're going to see is this thing right here that I'm looking at. And this is item sorted that I came to after many design iterations, in terms of not necessarily in terms of how it works. How it works is kind of stuff taken from tutorials and multitudes of other things, but more of me putting it together in the limited space I have. So we can start a little bit with kind of what I had to change. So this was one version where the main thing is that I don't want to use that many hoppers. So that was kind of a design concern that I had, where I don't want to the reason I don't want to use that many hoppers is because they use up a lot of iron and they use up a lot of chests, and they don't actually take up that much space, to be fair. But you also have this issue of you can't transport items up when you have hoppers. you end up having to use either some kind of dropper elevator, some kind of block elevator, or a bubble elevator, which is what I opted to do so here. So, because of that, you need the items in some kind of form, so you need some kind of dropper or dispenser that automatically shoots out items. This is a common circuit that you can find if you just look up automatic dropper Minecraft or something like that. Then you shoot it up here, you have the glass, and not glass, you have the ice, packed ice, so it doesn't melt because of the light levels. You have the packed ice go up, go around, and so on and so forth. And then what I was running into is this issue of the items were going a little bit too fast for my liking. So here's the thing, is that with this sorter specifically, if you look here, so I'm clicking on this hopper right here, you have how the sorted works is that you put 4 items that you know will never come into the system, or named, so you can name them, and therefore you guarantee that no items will come in the system, and then whatever item you have here. You can put between 1 and 41 items of that type. If you put more, it will just filter down down until 41. Because of how the redstone line works and so on and so forth, you trigger it to basically you trigger the hopper unlocking mechanism once you go over 41 of these. So in general, 45 items. This will break if I ever have like bones enter in the system, or there's a chance for it to break, because then the overflow protection may overflow and therefore unlock the hopper and then remove your filter. The thing is that because of that, you end up having a buffer of around, I think it's 23 items that you can go in. So once this fills up to 23 items, a hopper has like a cooldown of some sort where it can't accept any items before it has time period where it has to drop an item before it can accept an item, right? So that makes sense, right? It gets too full, it can't accept any more items. But then the thing is if you have items that are passing through, of course, assuming that they're aligned properly against the honey blocks or whatever, is that then they're just gonna zoom off and be like, wee, that didn't help because I was standing on honey, but the general idea is there. They're just gonna go off and go disappear. So this is remedied by the fact that I have multiple hoppers here. So I have multiple chests that filter the same item. For an actual storage system, right? A normal storage system where you only have one hopper. So you can see I have 3 hoppers here with the prismarine shards, and then a few hoppers here with the prismarine crystals, and then 2 hoppers with the rock cod. So for an item sorter, what you would probably want to do is you would probably want to make sure this dropper doesn't output too many items at once. So let's say it just drops it at like a rate of, I think the rate that a hopper can accept items is like 2 items per second or something like that. Do not quote me on that. Check the Minecraft Wikipedia because I don't remember. But the thing is if you time that kind of correctly, you don't have your items bunching up together, which does cause the overflow, does cause the hopper to sometimes accept too many items or not accept the amount of items you want, and then the extra go flying off, so on and so forth. So I think it's you either do that or you somehow slow all of them down somehow, but the honey blocks don't really slow enough. So I think the solution is to just either get a faster hopper or to get your thing just your dropper or your item input slower. There are methods, I believe, to get a faster hopper speed. I'm not going to go into detail about that. Just 1, because I don't necessarily completely understand it. 2, I'm not using it because, again, I'm not technical enough for this. But the idea that I initially had was to use sea pickles and honey blocks. The thing is that this is a lot of honey blocks. Even with how I think I have 6, I would need 12 honey blocks, which means that 12 times 4, because you need 4 honey bottles per block, is that you end up needing 48 honey bottles. I don't have a bee farm, like a honey farm or a honeycomb farm at all, and I didn't want to make one in this episode. Not yet. I have bees and I want to save that, but I wanted to save that for a specific build and not just an industrial farm. I would have it as an industrial farm or kind of more automatic farm, as well as a build that I want associated with that. So that's kind of why I didn't do that. So yeah. So because of that, there's actually another method, and this one was, I discovered it on Ilmango's channel, because when you want technical Minecraft, you always go to Ilmango, and anything Sidecraft related, please do. They're really smart, not me. But what you can do is, mess that up, is that you want, the whole reason for the sea pickles and the honey blocks is that you want it aligned, and you want to have a block there that isn't a full block. So for example, I just toss a block right here, right? So you see how this item doesn't, it's like in between blocks, right? So you want that. So what Omango did is that because a chest is not considered a full block, you can see there's this slight gap, the item will just barely be like 1 pixel over, and then when it goes down, it will be on within the boundary of what the hopper checks. And then because this is not blocking it, like these iron bars aren't blocking it, you end up having it being able to travel through and then hit any of all the hopper hitboxes and have the hopper check for it. So basically that's what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be using iron bars and a chest in order to kind of filter this. And then we have our slabs in order to make sure our water elevator goes well and also correctly, and everything turns correctly. But yeah, so that's the gist of it. And that's showing in the creative. This one is though a little bit taller, just because of how I made it. So normally if you had I think one type of item sorter is that you have the water run over the hoppers, which is like good and dandy, but the issue with that is that you end up running into the item overflowing a little bit. But that's usually good enough for most purposes. Or if you just have normal hoppers, yeah. Normal hoppers, I believe that you only need space for 5, because or not 5, yes, because what happens is you can lower this module right here, and this is you can think of it, this is the filter, right? You can lower this module by 1 right here, so you have this hopper be your filter, and then these are your input hoppers that line. I end up making this, I think, taller, one because of this ice, because if you put ice over a chest, ice is not a transparent block, or considered like any kind of transparent block, so therefore you can't open the chest because of it, even though it's only opening on one side of it. So you can't do that, so you need to raise it higher by 1, which means you just raise this up by 1, which is like not that big of a deal, honestly, but it ends up just having more, I just end up using more space. And I also need like a cover here. I think I have it as 8 high in the actual survival world. Oh, this is only 7 high, because technically you could just make the roof across, but I rather have just kind of this opening for troubleshooting, because you never know, honestly. And then this will be all pushed back kind of by 1. But that's the gist of it. This is only, of course, one side, and it's definitely not to scale. There's definitely like one block, one-off errors, or off by 1 errors, so to speak, just because I just need the gist of it, and a lot of things can be like moved, shortened, lengthened, such as like the water streams, the water elevator, so on and so forth. But yeah, so let's go back to survival and then build this thing, as well as or I guess finish building it, and you'll get to see the results. And hopefully I'll also have a design for the walls and the floor. I still haven't really got that figured out. I have a few block palettes in mind, but I've also just been pulling from blockpalettes.com because I am unimaginative and I need help, because prismarine and spruce wood, I need more colors and other things. So yeah, but let's go back to the survival world. And welcome back. So now we're in a currently different place. We're actually on the nether roof. And I'm gonna actually be kind of just walking over and doing a voiceover for what I've done. So I actually finished the farm, the storage system included, as well as the sorting system, and so on and so forth. But basically I finished it, but due to some issues, I'm gonna have to just kind of play that back as I talk. And yeah, so I'll just be explaining what I did, and you'll kind of see that footage. So as you can see here, we have the tanks, right? And how I'm filling them up is I'm using ice instead of kelp, as you see in the actual tutorial video. And the reason for this is that when testing out with kelp and in my creative world, the issue I kept running into was that when you put the kelp in and you don't break it immediately, is that there is a chance for the kelp to grow. And if you have flowing water on top of it, you end up having this issue of the kelp growing into your flowing water and then therefore destroying part of kind of this water on top that you want it to flow down. Um, so I just end up using ice, and as you can see, it's just you just place them around the edges, and if you just place them on two sides, spaced out by one block, and again add an extra one needed, and then you break it, you end up being able to create water sources, which then by Minecraft water logic, you can fill up the whole tank. I actually did have to run around and go collect ice again because I thought 2 stacks would be enough. It wasn't. I needed around 3 stacks per tank. 3 to 4 stacks per tank, so no, 3 stacks per tank. Yeah, that's the correct method. So I had to go back and grab some ice, and then I made it and then just filled it up, and as you can see, this is kind of what I mean by the flowing water bit. So you want to just have that flow down and flow in, and flow into the chamber. And yeah. And we're back at the actual farm, the finished farm, or finished for now, kind of like the farm works. The aesthetics is leaves something to be desired, I will say. I think this color combination doesn't completely work. I don't really want to change the top, and the reason for that is just because I do like the deep slate, but that spruce is fine. I don't think it's just meshing well with the prismarine as much, but again, leave options. Else I might just leave it for now and leave the aesthetics to be covered up for later. I did clean up the area actually around, so as you can see, there's no trees other than some scaffolding and some chests over there. But yeah, the farm is basically it's finished now. It is completely done, and it works pretty well. You do need the blocks on top. I was actually initially thinking that you didn't have to, but there is this line in Guardian code where they actually spawn better when they have like a roof above their heads with some solid blocks above like the water. So we can come down here, which I've decorated with some prismarine and some sea lanterns. I'm still kind of in the process of removing these torches and so on and so forth. There seems to be, of course, a few missed. I'm not a big fan of this of the stone brick here, but I didn't really know what to replace it with, so we're just keeping it there for now. I do like how this arch kind of works a little bit. Could be more arch-like, but not that picky about it. Again, the stone brick, I did try to find a way to work it in, but it's kind of debatable on this. And then this is the storage system. So I'm using one that I think I mentioned before. This is the basic sorting system that you can find by Impulse SV. And then here, I don't know who kind of created this kind of method first, but what you do is that you have a chest here so you can line up the items, so when they flow down the water streams, they will get picked up by the hoppers. And then here, this back wall, I am kind of in the process of renovating / kind of figuring out what pattern I want. I do like this kind of like warped wood style, and the strip looks a little too flat. So I at least want to keep the crimson wood, but then I'm not sure if I want to keep this as stripped warped or if I want to keep it as unstripped. So not sure. I'll probably figure that out sooner or later. Oh, oops. I shouldn't have picked that up. Whatever. But as you can see, it is working, and it's actually working pretty well. I haven't made an AFK platform yet, or anything of the sort. I also put that in the wrong chest, that's why. But I haven't made an AFK platform. I've just been walking around this area, and it seems to be having relatively good rates. I haven't lit up all the caves. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to spend some time doing that off camera. Just because it's a lot of I don't need that much prismarine, quote unquote. I just want a lot of sea lanterns, and I have a bunch, and also the cod. Honestly, the cod's actually very important because I have fishermen, and you can sell those to them for an emerald and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm not going to turn this into a looting farm. I'm just going to keep it as normal drops, and I want to create something here, but that might be for either a later episode or just off camera, and I just update you throughout the video or something like that. Just because I kind of want to do something with this outer edge. I might also expand this outer area, so instead of having the cube, you end up having kind of the a more the rounded perimeter, which I think a lot of other people have, and it looks really nice. So not sure. I also don't mind having the cube because that means I have to do less work in terms of having to clear out the ocean. There is like a ravine and a geode that is like right here, so you can't really see anything. But if we go further, you can see there's that some light. So right here is this really big, like, just ravine of some sort, like just ocean like thing here. It's I don't like it. It leads down to actually that mine shaft, and then right here is a geode, which is actually very nice. For just grabbing whatever I need. I do have to be careful because I still have the haste effect here for a little bit. But since I actually did accidentally mine out one of these budding amethysts in one of my other geodes because I had haste and it was too fast, and I ripped that budding amethyst. But yeah, with that, though, I think I'm just gonna end the episode off here. It's a bit late. I'm sorry for that. It took some time filling in the water and the ice, and I didn't actually realize how long this farm would take, especially since I spent actually a good chunk of it decorating the storage room, which I'm still not really happy with. So that might change, or that might change if you see future episodes, where I might just play around with that design. I do like the sea lantern patterns and so on and so forth, but I don't know if I'll keep the other stuff. I'm still trying to figure out a color palette. If I get more quartz, I might, but that spruce is it's a choice. I think I try to make it work. I don't think it's working as well. I might actually exchange that out for quartz. And it won't be that bad because of where the spruce is. It's on the corners. I won't get like attacked by guardians, which is great. That's always a plus. Always a plus. But with that, thank you guys for watching this episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.